All right, so now we are going to bust some myths. Let's bust them about puppy nutrition. We are going to explore the top 5 dietary tips for raising a healthy pup. And we have the one, the only Dr. Judy Morgan back with us because she knows what's best for our puppies. All right, we're going to celebrate fact from fiction, Dr. Judy. We're going to debunk these common myths. We're going to jump right in. And we know that you have answers for us. We trust you. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right, so we're going to start with number 1. Puppies need special milk to grow healthy bones.
Myth busted. So
Okay.
the funny thing is most dogs are pretty lactose intolerant. And so if we feed cow's milk to our puppies, more than likely they are going to get diarrhea. And we don't need a special puppy milk. Now, there are milk replacers on the diet, but on the market, but they are really made to be used if something happens to mama, she gets mastitis, her milk dries up, something happens to her, and the puppies have no way to nurse, then, worst case scenario, you have to go to a milk replacer if you can't find a surrogate mommy. But other than that, they do not need milk. One thing I will say is that goat milk is very close to the mama dog's milk, and they will tolerate that. And so those little toppers that you were just talking about with the goat milk, that is absolutely appropriate for dogs and puppies. And it didn't dawn on me till I was having a conversation with somebody who was selling goat milk. And I said, well, how nutritious is this for our dogs? And they were like, well, it's 100% complete and balanced diet. I went, really? And they're like, well, baby goats drink it for 6 months. And I went, oh yeah, duh. So
light bulb went off. Okay.
Exactly. One of those light bulb moments where you're like, well, yeah, duh. So as a veterinarian, I have those kinds of weird.
I love it. You're
moments.
So humble. You're willing to admit that. You learn new things every day too, because we're lifelong learners. Go, Dr. Judy. I love it.
So if you need a milk replacer, I actually love goat milk. I would do unpasteurized raw goat milk, which is just so healthy for them. So if you feel like they need something or you want to use it as a special treat and give them a little bit of that, it's absolutely fine.
Okay, good to know. All right, myth number 2. Puppies require expensive puppy food for optimal growth.
Well, frankly, the price tag has nothing to do with how good the food is. I actually did an in-store video in the grocery store once comparing qualities of different foods in the pet food aisle with the price. And some of those little tiny canned foods, you look at them and you say, well, it's only 99 cents a can. That's awesome. And then you look at it and go, and it's only 2 ounces. So you're actually paying $8 a pound. I can get much higher quality, better food for a lot less than that. So what you're looking for is a nutritionally balanced diet. My preference is to have as much fresh whole food in that diet. And we have a lot of pet food companies who are making food with fresh human grade ingredients like All Provide. And so that is what I recommend looking for a really high quality, the best quality that you can afford that is the least processed product. And that's going to be the best for the puppy. So the price is not the deciding factor. And the same goes with supplementation. When we look at supplements for our animals, expensive is not always better.
So good to know. We want to make informed decisions. So dog moms, do your homework before you buy. Really helpful, Dr. Judy. Thank you. All right, now moving on to myth number 3. Puppies must eat large quantities of food to develop properly.
No. I mean, they need the amount of food, the amount of calories that their body size and activity level dictates. And if we overfeed them as puppies, we can have obese puppies, just like we can have obese toddlers. So you really want to feed them based on their activity level, their size, what their adult size is going to be. And if they're one of those large breed puppies, then again, we don't want them to grow too fast. We don't want to cause joint problems. So we do have to control the feeding based on what their needs dictate.
Got it. Okay, number 4. Puppies should start eating solid food immediately after weaning.
Well, it depends it depends on your definition of solid.
Right.
So, but the way that I always taught my clients to get their puppies weaned onto food is we take whatever food we want them to eat as, going into their puppy stage and getting off of mama's milk. And we want to take that food and mix it with something to make it nice and mushy, easy to digest. When my mom bred her dog, we had, puppies just in the mush making big messes. They have to walk through it. They have to play in it. They have to roll around in it and get in it. That's part of the experience of learning how to eat. So you want to make it really mushy and easy to digest. And then you could use the goat milk or bone broth to make it mushier. I think those are actually healthier options than the milk replacer. And then gradually work their way up to what you want them to be on as the next stage.
Right. So slowly move in that direction. Incredibly helpful. Finally, myth number 5. Puppies need multiple meals throughout the day to stay healthy. What do you think?
It depends on the size of the dog and the age of the dog. So puppies, we're talking about a long span. It could be, some breeds are considered puppies until they're about 10 to 12 months old, and other breeds are still kind of puppies until much later. So depending on their age, so let's take a toy breed that is weaned at 8 weeks. They have a very high metabolism, and particularly when they're stressed, their blood sugar can drop. So those little tiny guys may need to eat 4 to 5 small meals per day so that their blood sugar doesn't drop. The larger the breed, the less kind of meals they need throughout the day. And so most of them can be weaned down to 3 times a day by from 3 times a day down to 2 times a day by about 12 to 14 weeks, somewhere in there. But again, you have to look at the activity level of your puppy and the size of your puppy, and that is going to help dictate. But no, they certainly do not need to have food put in front of them all the time, because I really like set meal times rather than allowing them to be grazers eating throughout the day. That's not really how our dogs are meant to eat. They're meant to sit and have a meal and be done.
All right, there you go. Top-notch insights, Dr. Judy. Thank you so much. I hope you dog moms are taking some notes, because there's just so much helpful information here. Dr. Judy, can you share for us your top 5 health tips for puppies?
Okay. Tip number 1, high quality puppy food. Make sure you choose a food that is specifically formulated to meet the nutritional needs of growing puppies. And we do have foods on the market that say for all life stages. I actually prefer to have something that is more targeted directly for puppies if possible. We want to look for food that has high quality protein in it, and that definitely needs to be the first ingredient or the first multiple ingredients. And then we need to make sure that it's got all the vitamins and minerals that they need for proper joint and brain development, all those, growth, all those things that they're doing. So tip number 2, control the portion sizes. We don't want our puppies to be obese. That's going to be a huge problem. So follow the feeding guidelines from the pet food manufacturer of whatever food that you are feeding. Most of them have it either on the packaging or on their website that will tell you how much to feed. Number 3, we do want a gradual transition to that solid food. So you don't want to wean them from mama today and tomorrow throw a bowl of dry kibble in front of them and expect them to know how to eat that and not choke on it. So we do need to wean them over gradually onto whatever their more solid food is going to be. Number 4, regular feeding schedule. It's going to make it so much easier for house training and thriving on that routine, knowing what to expect. when they're older, sometimes we play around with that a little bit, but for puppies, they do thrive on, just like kids, they thrive on routine, knowing what to expect and when to expect it. And then number 5 top tip is always have fresh water. And one of the things that we don't think about often enough is changing out that water in the bowl. So if the water sits in that bowl day after day, we get a biofilm in there, which is basically bacteria coating the bowl. So for my dogs, their water bowls they have 3 water bowls for the 5 dogs, and they're picked up twice a day, and they're cleaned out to get rid of that biofilm, and fresh water put in, and then that's put down. And what I find is that every time I switch the water out, they know there's fresh, cool water in those bowls, and that's usually when everybody comes to run and get a drink of that fresh water. So just think about how you would feel if that glass of water you'd been drinking out of for 4 days kept sitting there. It would get kind of slimy. So fresh water, really, really, really important.
Oh, fantastic insights. That is so helpful. Thank you for sharing that. I don't think a lot of dog moms necessarily think about that, and to rinse it out even multiple times throughout the day, as you said. Thank you so much, Dr. Judy. We want to go ahead now and get to those questions. The first question comes from Lilac Lola, and Lilac asks you, when should puppies start taking vitamins?
They don't necessarily need to take any vitamins. If you are feeding a high quality food that provides all the nutrition that they need, then you don't want to over supplement vitamins. Now, that doesn't mean you don't need any supplements, because there are some supplements that could be very beneficial depending on, again, your pet's needs. So I use colostrum quite commonly because it's just so good at building a healthy immune system. Like I said before, I like probiotics for the little guys, but I don't look at a multivitamin or anything like that, because they should be getting their vitamins and minerals from a high quality food.
Really helpful. Our next question is from Ashley Geis. She wants to know, how long is it safe to leave your dog on puppy food?
Well, we'll get into that when we get into our next section and we talk about adolescence and moving into adulthood, but you don't want to leave them on it into adulthood, because, and we'll talk about it later, but we will get some issues with that, because remember, the puppy food is formulated differently. It's higher in calcium, higher in phosphorus, higher in protein, maybe a little higher in fat. So there's some things that we do want to moderate when we move into the next stage.
Good. And our next question is from Cynthia Norris. Do you have any suggestions for puppies who are on foods, a lot of the foods that you've recommended, but are demonstrating a lot of scratching? Anything that should be taken into consideration? What's your advice for Cynthia?
So we shouldn't have a lot of scratching in puppies because they're really too young to have allergies. So it's probably not an allergy problem. Although we can have some food sensitivities, but I would be looking at environmental factors as well. Are they sleeping on blankets that are washed in detergents that might be irritating? Could they potentially have some mites in their skin, either Demodex or Sarcoptes? Has the veterinarian taken a good look? And could your dog be one of the breeds that has neurologic issues that contribute to scratching? So my Cavaliers all have a disease called syringomyelia and caudal occipital malformation syndrome. They're big words. The short names are SM and CM, but breeds with the round heads, the brachycephalic, the short-nosed, round-headed dogs are very prone to this. It's not just Cavaliers. So Brussels Griffons, Chihuahuas, Bostons, anybody with that little round head can have this disease. And the symptom is scratching, particularly air scratching, biting at their sides, that sort of thing. So without knowing more about this particular dog, I would say we've got to rule out a lot of other things. And there are some medications that your pet could be on that the side effects are itching. So one that comes to mind right off the bat is NexGard. NexGard is a flea and tick oral preventative, and one of the side effects can be significant scratching and skin lesions. So a lot of things to rule out there.
Okay, a lot to take into consideration. Dr. Judy, thank you so much. And thanks so much for watching this Dog Mom News clip. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome and informative Dog Mom News content. And while you're at it, ring the bell so that you can find out about more content in real time. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, everyone.